My roommate was a California transplant. She saw that there was not as many cigarettes present in California. And so when she got here, she realized this is a bigger issue than we thought it was. And so when we took this class and we found out that there was a project component and our professor was very open-ended about what we wanted to do, and Fran was like, why don't we tackle this thing that we've been thinking about for like the past 3 years? Our first thoughts were like, maybe we can implement a filtration system of some sort, but then we realized that it would probably be better to stop it at its source than to have to filter out cigarettes, because cigarettes leak chemicals and stuff into the water that wouldn't be able to fish out.
Something that was shocking to me was seeing how much litter there was on the ground, because there were multiple cigarette towers. And to me, it was baffling that within 5 feet of one of these towers, there would still be cigarette litter that clearly had not gone into the receptacle.
So we picked up cigarettes outside of Mundelein, the IC, the sort of northeast area of Damon, right outside of Hallis, and then at the shuttle stop. And we were thinking that Mundelein would be our spot because there's a lot of traffic there all the time. But we found that out of all 4 of those places, it was actually the shuttle stop that had the most, because the shuttle stop, the one that functions during non-winter months, doesn't have a cigarette container there at all. So we found, I think, 160-ish by the shuttle, and then a little over 100 outside of Damon and Mundelein, and then about 80 or so outside the IC, so in total just under 400. The counting of the cigarette butts is data collection. And then based on that data, we are going to install a new kind of cigarette container that's different from the ones that we have on campus. And the container that we have is like a gamified version. So it's a bin with like a plexiglass front with 2 separate compartments. And on the front, there are 2 holes and there's space for questions. So for example, you could say, what's the better sauce with pizza? You could say like ranch or barbecue or something like that. And then people, once they're done with their butt, they can put it into like the ranch container or the barbecue container. And it's totally customizable. The question can change like however often you want it to. Once the cigarette is out of your hand, it's kind of out of your mind, but it's physically still somewhere. And that it seeps chemicals into mostly the rainwater. And that rainwater isn't treated on Loyola's campus like it is in the rest of Chicago. So just because the problem's not there for you doesn't mean it's not there for someone else.
The thing is, it is gross to pick up other people's cigarettes, don't get me wrong. The thought is repugnant to me morally. But I got more into a rhythm of it, so at a certain point it became more raw numbers as the shock sort of faded away. We had lots of gloves, so that part was fine. But what I got thinking was, I can wash my hands at the end of the day. I can take a shower, I can take a bath. I can do all these things to rid myself of potentially what's in my hands. What's more gross to me is the fact that this is in our environment, that this is getting into our water system. Because the way Loyola's water system works is it will filter out big objects, so large cigarettes, but there's no chemical treatment. So those little particles or those chemicals that seep into the water, those will remain. And to me, that's far more disgusting than picking up somebody else's cigarette.